and welcome you back to class. And in two pretty simple steps, let us explain metabolic acidosis. Now, we'll talk about metabolic acidosis. Let us break it down into two words. Now, we have metabolic and we have acidosis. Now, we'll talk about acidosis. The first thing that we have to understand is that we are looking at pH, and with acidosis, we are looking at low pH. Now, with acid-base balances, we'll talk about metabolic. Know that we are looking at the metabolic component. So, we're literally looking at bicarbonate. So in summary, when we talk about metabolic acidosis, we are looking at low blood pH due to low concentration of bicarbonate, and these can be caused by two distinct mechanisms, either due to accumulation of hydrogen or direct loss of the bicarbonate ion. So that is what we have to understand about metabolic acidosis. Now let's dive into the causes of metabolic acidosis. Now the first cause we are going to look at is diarrhea. Now what we have to understand is that majority of intestinal fluid is composed predominantly of bicarbonate, which is due to the presence of the pancreatic exocrine function that makes majority of the interstitial fluid at the level of the intestine mostly composed of bicarbonate. Now, during diarrhea, there is increased level of release of water or release of that interstitial fluid, and due to that, the concentration of bicarbonate at the level of the intestines goes down drastically. That leads to a metabolic acidosis. Now, the next cause of metabolic acidosis we'll be looking at is chronic renal failure. Now, what you have to understand is that when there is a renal failure, the first thing that happens is that there is increased excretion of ions, and what happens is that there is increased excretion of ions and predominantly hydrogen. Now, more of hydrogen will be excreted from the kidneys, and due to increased hydrogen that will be excreted, bicarbonate will be needed to compensate that loss. Now, using bicarbonate to compensate the loss of hydrogen reduce blood bicarbonate concentration present, which leads to a metabolic acidosis. So those are some of the causes of metabolic acidosis we have mentioned earlier. Now the next thing we're looking at is the compensation plan. Now that has happened. How does the body compensate for it? Now the first thing we look at is hyperventilation. Now what you have to understand is that during hyperventilation, there is increased carbon dioxide which is sent out, which reduces blood hydrogen carbonate. It reduces blood hydrogen carbonate, and once blood hydrogen carbonate is being reduced, the pH goes higher, so it leaves from an acidotic state to a neutral state. So that is part of the compensation plan. And the next thing is reabsorption by the kidneys. So in the case of metabolic acidosis, the first thing the kidney does is that it rapidly sends out hydrogen or rapidly excretes hydrogen and reabsorbs bicarbonate so as to maintain blood bicarbonate and stabilizes the pH. So that is what we have to understand about metabolic acidosis. I hope you learned something. See you in our next class. Thank you.